gentlemen, please notice that exits are conveniently located at the front and rear of this auditorium. When leaving the theater, we suggest that the exit at the front of the auditorium will allow you easier access to the parking areas. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mike Field.
I'm Mike Butler.
And welcome to Forgotten Cinema Lead Up. Each episode, we highlight a film from a popular series and follow it all the way to the most recent release. We'll discuss what we love about the movie or perhaps don't love about it, but we'll always recommend you revisit it, even the not so good ones. So let's get into it. Butler, what's going on?
Field. Nothing much. I don't know if you know this.
To each other all week.
My little brother, as you know, has been possessed by a demon. It's getting pretty bad. We contacted the Warrens, and we thought they were going to do a good job during the exorcism. But you know what? The priest that they hired got knocked out because, a real professional there got knocked out by a 4-year-old demon.
He kind of went out like a bitch, yeah.
He did. And then meanwhile, the demon's on top of Ed, giving him a deep vein thrombosis or whatever, killing him.
Nice.
Ed, Lorraine, the professional she is, only cares about Ed, not my little brother who's writhing in pain as a demon. So, I did what I had to do. I took charge of the situation. I told that demon, use me. Use me. I honestly didn't think it was going to be a big deal.
I was joking.
Thought maybe they'd be like, hey, the demon's inside me. Maybe give me an exorcism, but I decided instead of saying something to say nothing about it. So with Ed and Lorraine in the hospital for a few weeks, I decided to go about my daily life, get really sick from demon poisoning, and then get confused and stab the ever-loving hell out of my landlord / drunk friend, who I thought was a demon at the time. Everybody does it. Got picked up by the cops. I thought I had the best defense on the courtroom that it's ever been used. The devil made me do it. I was possessed, Your Honor.
Movie title.
And as the Warrens try to investigate to see if they can figure out why my brother was targeted for this demon, and if by doing that they can prove in a court of law that I really was possessed. Let's see what happens.
Right. That's basically The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. Our third and final entry into the Conjuring lead up that we are doing, leading up obviously all the way to the now showing episode, The Conjuring Last Rites, which Mike and I will be watching over the Labor Day weekend at some point.
Until we do the Annabelles leading up to the newest Annabelle, the nuns leading up to the newest nuns.
There's only 2 nuns though. There's 3 Annabelles, so 3
Annabelles, 2 nuns.
4th Annabelle, yeah. But
I am curious about the 3rd Annabelle, but I've never seen it where
I've seen
it lets
parts
all
of it.
The creatures out.
No, isn't the 3rd one where it's her origin, or is that one of the other ones I saw? I thought the 3rd one was.
The second one goes. The first one is her direct origin. The second one is her origin, and goes deep into that cult of the Red Lamb or whatever it's called. And then the 3rd one is the Warrens' daughters having a sleepover party at night, and they let Annabelle out as a dare, and Annabelle lets all the different demons out of that room.
Interesting. Are the Warrens in that one? No.
They are at the end. I think they save the day at the end.
Jeez.
It seems like a Goosebumps version of The Conjuring, but I'm kind of into it based on what I've seen from the trailer.
Okay. So anyway, we're not doing that. We're doing The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, the 3rd in the series, like I said. So let's get into the facts and then we'll get into the discussion because I think we have a little more to discuss about with this one. I don't know how you thought, brother. You had not seen this film, correct?
I have not. Yeah. So
interesting. Good. Because
I do think we have more to talk about.
Yeah. All right. The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. It's a runtime of 112 minutes. Rated R. Production budget of $39 million. All of them have had pretty much. I think the first one was 20 million, right? And then the next 2 were 40. So modest budget. Release date. This one came out in the summer, Friday, June 4th, 2021. But it's obviously, we'll get to it in a little bit. It's one of those COVID films, one of those films that was lost in the myriad of the posts or I guess this is towards the end of the pandemic a little bit.
Toward the end, but still definitely affected by it.
Absolutely. It's opening. It's one of those films that, and you know what, I'll just do it right now because we're talking about it. So its opening weekend is $24 million. Its domestic was $65.6 million. Its international was $140.8 million for a worldwide total of $206.4 million. But it's not bad. But this film was also came out on HBO Max the same day that it was out theatrically. So what you had was it was only out. It would only be out for the 30 days for like a month. So during that month, I have numbers for you, Butler. Samba TV reported that the film was streamed 1.6 million times in American households over the first 3 days of its release, and then 3 million households over the first 17 days. Now, then there's this other one where it says over 3 million for U.S. households by its first 30 days. So let's just say 3 million throughout the 30. So it was obviously very popular on streaming. Now, I don't know how that would translate. You could probably do the math. I don't know how that would translate to opening in theaters. Probably I would say like half the people.
I would say less than half the people
would go to the theater to see this.
Go to the theater just because ease of going. Plus, the at that time, no one was going.
True, that's so right. You were still there.
Yeah, no one was going to the theater still, so it was kind of like, no one went to the theater. Like, yes, Top Gun Maverick did money, but no one went to the theater until Spider-Man No Way Home. That was the first movie that really made money and everybody went to.
But also,
and even then, right after that, for a while as well.
But also, there was not a lot of content because of COVID, but also because of the writer's strike right after. So you had limited content as well.
Yes,
and they're still suffering those effects, and obviously the streaming genie's out of the bottle, but like that's a whole different conversation. So anyways, this film production company was New Line Cinema, Atomic Monster, and the Saffron Company, and obviously it was distributed by Warner Brothers, who owns New Line Cinema, which I've said repeatedly throughout this series. It came out on the 4th. Let's go back a week to May 28th. You had a wide release of Cruella and A Quiet Place Part 2, and then a limited re-release of World War Z. So obviously that's that pandemic. Let's put out another movie. Yeah. 80 screens, 80 theaters.
World War Z, A, is not a good movie, and 2 is a very poor choice.
A lot of people like it, but a lot of people like it.
Do they?
A lot of people like it.
Oh man, I remember. I don't think we saw it together. I don't think either of us were very enthused. We had so much time in between, and we didn't really care. I remember there was something that happened in the movie, and we were just like, "You want to pause it and go to Dunkin' Donuts?" Like we paused because we I don't really care what's happening to do now. Let's go to Dunkin' Donuts. We'll come back to it. Yeah, we were just like, ugh.
That's accurate. Something like that. Yeah. I've been on record. I'm not a big zombie guy. It's not my thing. I just don't like anything with zombies. I don't care if they run fast or they don't run fast. It's not one of my go-to or favorite genre, subgenres within the big genre of horror. I just don't like zombie stuff. Anyways, when this film came out the 4th of June, it went up against in a wide release Spirit Untamed, which is a animated film. That was it. The week after the 11th, you had a wide release of In the Heights, Peter Rabbit 2, The Runaway, limited releases of Queen Bees and The House Next Door, Meet the Blacks 2. Those had actually pretty big. They were limited releases, but Queen Bees was in 500 theaters. And Meet the Blacks 2 was in 420. So, that's a decent limited release.
Yeah, that's not bad.
This film is not directed by James Wan. It's actually directed by Michael Chavez, who's done The Curse of La Llorona, The Nun 2, and he's doing the upcoming Conjuring Last Rites. Screenplay and story credit goes to David Leslie Johnson McGoldrick, who you may remember did the last Conjuring. He's also doing the next Conjuring. He also is writing wrote Last Rites. He's did Orphan and Red Riding Hood. Story, James Wan did come up with the story. He's done stories for the Saw series and the movie Megan. Cinematographer was Michael Burgess. If that sounds familiar, his father was the cinematographer for the first two. So I guess he just passed the baton over. And I think he actually goes off, and I think we talked about this. I think he goes off and shoots another movie. Like he directs one of the movies in the universe, I think.
Nepo baby.
Of course. I mean, listen, I would take it. This Burgess has done the 2024 Salem Slot, which came out on HBO, The Family Plan, and Malignant, Butler.
Hey, a movie we did last Halloween Horror Nights, or Halloween Horror Nights,
last
Forgotten Horror? Yes, because it was part of the big trailer.
Last year. Forgotten Horror 6. Composer was Joseph Bishara, who's done Night of the Demons, Insidious, and The Curse of La Llorona. Edited by Peter Vosdas and Christian Wagner. Or Wagner. Vosdas is The Purge, The Babysitter, and Brightburn. And Wagner's done True Romance, Face Off, and Novocaine. Yes, True Romance. I said that. Peter Safran and James Wan were the producers, and I've said them before. Safran's done Superman, the most recent one, and Wan has produced mostly his stuff. We have the same couple a couple of holdovers from the first two in terms of, their assistant Drews in the beginning, played by Shannon Cook.
He actually has lines this time.
I know. Father Gordon.
No lines too.
Steve Coulter plays Father Gordon, who was in the beginning, which we talked about briefly. He's in the first one, and I think he's in one of the Annabelles or one of them. And I don't know if he's in the Curse. I know he's in the Curse of La Llorona. Somebody is. But Patrick Wilson returns as Ed Warren. Vera Farmiga returns as Lorraine Warren. I ran through the credits, the last two. But Wilson's done Hard Candy, the TV show Fargo. Season 2, I believe. Watchmen. Farmiga's done Up in the Air, which was nominated for an Oscar, The Departed, and the TV show Bates Motel. I didn't even look up this dude's name. I should have. Hang on. You know who I'm talking about.
The guy from the Fringe TV show?
Yeah. No, the kid? Arnie?
Oh, no,
Rory.
not Arnie.
It's Rory. It's Rory. Jesus, it's just spelled weird. Okay. Rory O'Connor as Arnie Johnson, the guy that Butler was portraying in his opening. He's the I guess the bad guy, but he's the haunted guy. Let's put it that way.
He's the victim.
Exactly. He's in the Postcard Killings and the TV show The Morning Show. Sarah Catherine Hook as Debbie Glatzel from the last season of The White Lotus, season 3. And she's also in the TV show Cruel Intentions. Julian Hilliard is David Glatzel, the young kid who's possessed in the beginning of the film. He's one of the Maximoffs in the WandaVision show, the TV show WandaVision. He's also in The Haunting of Hill House.
He's so doofy looking.
John Noble as Kastner. He is the, I guess, the former priest that they talk to a little bit. He's from Fringe, TV show Elementary. He's also in Lord of the Rings 2 and 3. Eugenie Bondurant as the occultist, the super thin woman that is causing all the problems here. She's in Werewolf by Night and The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2. And then Bruno, Ronnie Jean Blevins plays Bruno, who is the landlord that Arnie stabs. He's in Father Stew and Emancipation. And then the officer that Lorraine and Ed kind of team up with on basically a movie within a movie. Sergeant Clay is played by Keith Arthur Bolden, who's from the TV show Cobra Kai. I think he's the older brother of one of the guys, and he's in Mile 22. So not a terribly huge cast, but a bigger story in scope of it's not obviously not set in one location. It's not a haunted house.
Yeah, it's not a haunted house film, which they had said going into it they didn't want to do another haunted house film.
It's like some kind of, what would you describe this? It's like they're investigating. It's like a little bit of a Scooby-Doo investigation thing. Yeah.
It's if they tried to make the Conjuring a TV series, this is the pilot.
Yeah. So it's a little different. It's there's the bad guy and the bad guy. The villain is not a ghost. It's a person. Yep. And so it's a little different. It's obviously different from the first two. They made that decision to make it different. Is that the right decision, Butler? What give me your thoughts. Let's start off with give me some of your thoughts.
I mean, it is the right decision because not every demon possession story has to be a haunted house story. Mm-hmm. I don't like how this, and maybe it's because I haven't seen all the spinoffs. I don't like that this is almost requisite watch for the Cult of the Red Lamb, right? Or the Dead Lamb, Cult of the Red Lamb.
Oh, is that what? I didn't even catch that. That was the name of the cult in the thing.
Yeah. And that cult is the cult that is from, I guess, that cult created Annabelle and the Annabelle spinoff. And for all I know, has something to do with none. Probably not.
I don't think you need to watch that to know that.
It's just kind of like, oh, yes, it's the cult of the Red Lass. We've dealt with them before and blah, blah, blah. I was like, who what? So I had to look up, were they real? And they're not real. So if they're not real, then we should have some kind of better explanation of this. The onus shouldn't be on us to have watched all the other Annabelle movies. I think I've talked about that on the podcast before with superhero movies and other movies. It's kind of like that old comic book tradition of putting the little yellow box in the corner of the frame going, you would have seen this in Batman #4 if you're reading like a Superman comic or something. And it's like, oh, screw you. Come on. It's just trying to get you to buy the other products. Synergy. I'm not.
That's what it's all about.
Exactly. I don't know if I really like that. I don't know. Like, them expanding their universe is cool, but I liked that it wasn't Marvelized, and this Marvelizes it a little bit. I also thought the investigation was a little slow. I thought that could have been done spookier. I thought this was an interesting story. The way they took it, I really liked the way they took the investigation because it was very different from the first two. But where's the spook? There's very little scares that they haven't already either done in the first two Conjurings, or just they don't present me with a lot of scary stuff very often. I don't find a lady who has some kind of eating disorder frightening. Like, she's just a really skinny lady. She's just, that's it. It's just like, So I was really into the story this time around. I thought it was really clever what they did, but I didn't think it made for a very effective horror film. And I think that would be like my most general of general reviews. That would be what it boiled down to, what I thought. So is it successful? It is very interesting, but with the baseline fans that are in there for some horror like it, I mean, they came to see it. It made money, even though it was also on streaming. So I guess so. But I think that the fourth movie will be the big test on if they really liked it enough to come back again.
True. I would say that this film is like, I would even the first two. Yeah, they're in the horror genre, but they're more ghost stories. They're more ghost mysteries. The horror is probably like second fiddle in terms of genre. I guess like ghost stories are subgenre of horror. So, but like this one, horror is obviously even pushed further down. It's more thriller, mystery, horror kind of thing. And the whole investigation, the whole separate, I joke that it's a movie within a movie because they just leave and they just start investigating this other murder. And the only connection there is that if they find connection to the girl, because of the talisman or whatever, that they can connect to who's doing the killings, who's responsible for the ultimate story that's going on in Brookfield, or just to kind of like clear Arnie Johnson's name.
Right. Because if they find the talisman for that murder, then that would be like, all right, look, there's two talismans for completely unrelated murders, 100 miles apart. Yes, that talisman we say possessed David, but because of the connection with murders involving both of these talismans, it's the biggest evidence they're going to get to prove the existence of demons.
But we never go into why that stuff was done with the girl. Like, why? I know they said that she got it from college and whether she had it in her things, but why did all, like, why would that, was it a mistake that she was possessed? Like that whole, their whole reasoning for going over there.
Need 3. Like the curse was for 3 people, but they don't explain why they chose who they choose. Well, the curse was,
right? I have no idea because
it strong or something. I don't remember.
It confused me. And it kind of pulled me out a little bit, and it was a different. And at one point, I'm like, "What is this movie? Like, what are we doing? Like, what is happening? Like, he's been arrested for murder, and he really doesn't. I know he's like fighting for his soul, but it really, like, there's at one point where he's the whole point where when he gets lifted off the ground because he's mopping the floor of the infirmary. If you murdered somebody and you're on trial for murder, I don't believe you'd be doing mop up duty in the infirmary. You wouldn't be left alone like that. Like, I don't understand any of that. And I was very confused about what was happening in the movie at times. I mean, maybe that's just me. Maybe I was tired when I was watching it. I don't know. Maybe I wasn't engrossed as much as I was in the first two, primarily because we're not in a situation where, like, we're in one location, a haunted house, like everything's happening there.
Right.
So maybe that's why I just started drifting and wandering while I was watching the film. I don't know. Is there a difference? Is there a change between the characters of Ed and Lorraine Warren from this one, from the first two? Is there a shift for you? Or is it just kind of like old hat? Here we go. We're just helping this person out.
I think it's the same. It's kind of like we're helping this person out, but there's the added thing of like a ticking clock with Ed's heart. It's just, hey, his heart's on the line. There's more danger because he could die at any time. He's weaker. These aren't an Ed and Lorraine, I do like that they're playing them a little older. This isn't really an Ed and Lorraine that they're going to go punch a demon out, kind of like in the first two. They're not going to go with their cross and be like, ah. I mean, Ed tries to, and fails, but or I guess he succeeds. He succeeds in the house. Oh no, he doesn't, because then he gets possessed and tries to kill Lorraine. But they're weaker, which I kind of like. Not in like they're weaker because they suck, but they're weaker because they're older. Ed has his heart condition. They're just not really as prepared this film as they were in the first two. In the first two, they were superheroes, and here they're very much more like, I guess, a Mulder and Scully. Because they're doing more investigating than just being, we're going to come solve like Ghostbusters, and because they are more human than they were in the first two. So I do like that, but I think they are playing them pretty much the same. I think they have a little bit more of a tenderness for each other, but I think that also comes over doing 3 movies, having more of chemistry between each other, having done all these movies for so long. But I think overall, it's the same Ed and Lorraine we've experienced personality wise. Did you think that it was different?
Well, in the first one, we talk about how it was like Lorraine. Ed didn't want Lorraine to do this anymore, and in the second one, it was the reverse. And in this one, it just feels like there's a responsibility that they both feel to do something for Arnie because of how this movie kicks off, which this movie kicks off different from the first two, where the first 2 films are a slow burn to the haunting, and you kind of get to know everything. Something's off, it's creepy, and you don't know what it is, and it builds up to it. This one, it's like you're popped right into, like you talk about Marvel, you pop right into this like action scene where they're like fighting this demon, and the kids on the table, and the wind's blowing around the hole, and they're like, they're screaming, they're like, we gotta go. Like it's a completely different vibe when this film starts. So it's tough. It starts. The Warrens turn into, for the lack of a better term, they kind of turn into what Marvel characters would be like. The superheroes fighting this, and then they have to, they're fighting the bad guy, and then they feel like they need to save the day at the end. So they kind of take on that. And maybe just because we're all trained, or I'm trained to think that way with the way movies have been for the last 15, 20 years, big tentpole films. Like I think this is probably the first in the series, and I have not seen Annabelle or any of those where it becomes more like the universe is slightly a bigger portion than just the story that we're being told in The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. I mean, and the story is interesting. I think that they are squeezing a lot of juice out of this stone. For sure. Yeah. Because when you look back at, and we can go into that a little bit later if you want. Yeah. The real life case, because we live in the state where this all happened, and just the real life case and everything. They're really taking like with the first 2 films, there were, granted, we already, we know, obviously we talked about like the believability of everything, but there was a lot more physical evidence. I'm just thinking the end credits when they keep showing the pictures and this, that, you know what I mean? And this one is just the one tape recording that they play. Yep. And it's like, okay, but like nothing else. So I feel like there's a lot more,
creative liberties.
But I don't want to say that that's not taking place in the first 2, but I think there's just, they're making something out of, it's not based on too much, because there's not that much source material, I guess, for them, or maybe it's not interesting enough to kind of extrapolate from.
Right. I think the idea of it is interesting. It's the first real case to the US to have demonic possession as a defense, but at the same time, the story itself doesn't have a lot of girth to it. So it's like, I like this concept, let's go with this, but also we got to make a lot of stuff up, which is why you throw the Cult of the Red Lamb in there. It's like, oh, well, we had them in the other Annabelle films and stuff like that. Let's throw them into our mainline universe. Marvel it up a little bit. I think that although I don't know how much truth there is to that the investigation that they would have done, but like James Wan's original idea was he wanted to do something with lycanthropy and do them investigating werewolves. And I would have really liked that. Like if you're going to do the Warrens, which as I've said before, I don't believe them at all. I think that go have them investigate some really weird Mulder and Scully's type stuff. It doesn't have to be aliens because that's not their jam, but like lycanthropy, vampires, you know, other monsters or types of demons. Like you can go really weird with it. You've already have your 2 films there, so you can start to kind of push toward these kind of things. And I think that would have been a really interesting idea. Although, like we say, this is an interesting premise, but it's like a 1-sentence premise, and it's just like, yeah, and so
it just
like, what do you do from that?
It doesn't feel like a Conjuring movie. It just feels like Lorraine and Ed Warren are in another movie. That
it feels like they're in a procedural, but it's not procedural enough. I would have almost liked more of a Law and Order type. Go back and forth, focus on the lawyer. Let's see the courtroom case a little bit more as Ed and Lorraine are trying to gather evidence. You know, it's something Community did really well. Why can't a horror movie do it really well? You know, if you can do that with comedy, why can't you do that with a horror film?
Yeah, sure. And there were some choices that within the story that were a little, I won't say off, I guess off. For instance, Arnie gets possessed because he tells the demon to come into him. And it just so happens that nobody sees this happening or hears this happening except Ed. But then Ed has a heart attack. So we don't have Ed for the next 45 minutes of the film. That's why Arnie's able to go live his life like nothing happened. Like we're not else. So that was like convenient.
Right. And like Arnie doesn't say anything. That's what I don't get. Like Arnie.
Yeah.
Arnie is fine. The demon hasn't taken him over fully yet. He knows the demon is real.
Yes.
He's got a fiance or a girlfriend that is going to become his wife. He wants to move away with.
And the demon's talking to him.
Yeah, he's fine leaving that demon alone with the love of his life. Like you saw what David could do. What do you think you could do?
He never says anything. Yeah. Why
is that?
Why not tell Lorraine, oh, heads up, it's in me? Why not say something?
That's why it ended. And the two of them, like, I know Lorraine's concerned about Ed.
Sure.
But no one's curious. David just got better.
Yeah.
When has that ever worked in the other movies? Oh yeah, right. They're just good. They're fine now.
Yeah.
Come on.
That's a little just, that's not well thought out. And you watch the movie and just like, all right. And then the landlord. Now I get it. He stabs the landlord, but he stabs the landlord because he's possessed and the demon makes him think that the landlord's trying to get him and he's a creature or whatever. So that's okay. That's fine. There's no reason to make the landlord the creepy weirdo drunk alcoholic guy because there's no reason to make him that.
I mean, if you go into what supposedly happened, he was which we can go into. He was inebriated during the altercation that they had.
Yeah, but we've already talked about how
I get it. If you're going to
fictionalize, this film's fictionalized. Yeah.
I agree. He's so schlubby, but he's also their friend, which doesn't make a lot of sense. Either make him somebody he didn't like or make him somebody he liked.
Yeah. No, it just doesn't make sense.
And then the film plays with, oh, he's dancing with Debbie. It's fine, whatever. And then like, oh no, Debbie's really into it. Oh no, he's trying to bite Debbie. Oh, now he's a demon. It's just like, wait, which angle do you want to go with? That he's seeing a demon or he's getting mad and jealous of his landlord? Play with one of those, like the demon's making him mad and jealous. You can't have both. And they tried to have both. And I was really confused in that scene what Arnie was what was going through Arnie's mind at the time.
Mm-hmm. What did you think of the Kastner character, the John Noble character, Kastner, the old priest, the creepy old priest that I describe as the evil leaper, their anti-Warren. Quantum Leap fans out there.
I thought he was okay. Like, oh, there's a second basement. That's cool. I can't wait for the spinoff where we see him when he's younger. I was waiting for that to happen. I was like, when are they going to announce that? Then they go into his backstory and they realize, oh wait, that's his daughter. And I'm like, oh, so he's the bad guy. What a twist. All right, cool. And then he kind of redeems himself by not fully being the bad guy. He didn't realize he has his daughter back, but he didn't realize it was his daughter doing the things. He should have put 2 and 2 together. Go hide in these tunnels. I'll shoot her. He fails, which he says he's a giant failure, which I love. So I kind of liked him at the end. Like I started being like, all right, he's spinoff fodder. Oh, nope. He's the twist. very generic twist. And then he's like, oh, okay. He's just an idiot.
What happened with Lorraine's ability to, sense things and see things, and then she and I like that when they go down to the basement and Ed starts picking up stuff, she's like, Ed, no, she doesn't want to touch anything. Yeah. But you don't get any kind of sense from this dude who's clearly creepy. Like you don't get, like, it's just conveniently not there.
So there's that, and the fact. So that was what I thought when I first watched the movie. There's that fact, and the fact that she's in the house, and you keep seeing through her eyes throughout the entirety of this film.
Yeah,
like her eyes are your eyes, and they make make that a big deal at the very end. Obviously, why can't she see her coming down the stairs? Yes, she's that close. But then I thought, well, maybe, and the movie should have explained this. Being in a room with all that evil is kind of messing with her senses. And I'm like, all right, if that's the case, maybe. But that's in my head canon. I have to make that up. Yeah. So I'm assuming that. Mm-hmm. But that was my thought during that basement scene, because I thought the same thing. You should know what he's telling you. And then you should also have seen her coming down the stairs.
Yes. Yeah. And that sledgehammer can't break that altar at the end.
Oh my God, it shatters into a million pieces. That's pure concrete, cement, granite. Come on. I also have a problem with that ending with the sledgehammer, because you haven't seen it yet. Because it's Insidious 2, but Patrick Wilson goes on a sledgehammer rampage or an axe rampage, just like that, being possessed in Insidious 2.
Well, I mean, I've seen Insidious now, so I know that he is possessed by the old lady.
So you'll see that scene and be like, why are they in another James Wan film having him do the exact same thing? Well, it was so frustrating to watch.
Fair, this is Michael Chavez, so it's not.
James Wan's listed as a writer and a producer. He knows what's going on in the film. He's seeing the dailies.
But obviously in this one, and it's later. There's Insidious 2 is before that. And in this one, obviously it's a nod to The Shining. They have the nod to The Shining in there, and they have the nod to The Exorcist in the beginning. And we're like, oh, it's The Exorcist when the priest gets out of the cab, which again, you had the priest get out of the cab. Oh, it's the Exorcist. He's here to save the day, and then he just goes out like a soft, like just
wake up, Father, wake up.
Yeah, like, can I get a priest that just gets up? And is like, no, we're finishing this. Like, can I get that? Like, it's got to be. I know, I get it, and
I do like that the priest in the prison starts like a pussy, and then he gets really into it when he realizes the evil's good. I'm like, yeah, all right. At least he doesn't get knocked out. I was waiting for him to be like, oh, I forgot my lines, or dropping his cross. And instead he was more emboldened. I was like, all right, good.
Yeah. Well, they need him for the fourth one. Maybe he'll come back for the fourth one. I think it's this guy too. I think it's their old pal. Yeah. So we talked about it originally, but this I don't think this movie's based on this book, but if anyone's interested in learning more about the real life case, there's a book called The Devil in Connecticut that's written by Gerald Brittle. And he just talks about like what happened, and they kind of show some clips and stuff from photos from the outside the courthouse and stuff like that they kind of redid in the movie. So and there's another movie that came out in 1983 called The Demon Murder Case, which is about the same thing. So, and it's primarily just the fact that the devil made me do it was the defense, kind of like the Twinkie defense when Harvey Milk was shot over in San Francisco. So it's kind of like, it's just the defense is what kind of brought notoriety to the case. So if you're interested in that kind of little behind the scenes stuff, I thought it was also weird that the tagline in this movie is the same one they used for The Nun, the darkest chapter of the Conjuring universe. Did you not realize you used that already?
It was COVID. They didn't have they couldn't have a new title guy. They had to lay him off, so they had to reuse an old title.
This movie did okay though for a post-COVID release.
It did. I mean, considering it was same day streaming for a month,
and it is in the summer, so I think people are we're more at ease going out in the summer, thinking the warm. Yeah. You also have, it's a movie for teenagers because it's horror. So it's a lot of younger people who aren't necessarily, because that stops them. Oh, a lot of young stopped them in our theater.
We did. Damn right. But I think they were more comfortable going back to the theater than older people were, and more adults
still are.
We're a little more hesitant. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So it did well.
Yeah. We also have another case of Ed just taking things now from cases at the end of this film. He takes the goblet that she was pouring the mix in and just that's not possessed. And the first,
that's what I thought. Just smash it with everything else.
We talked about this in the second movie, that in the first film, he takes the music box because the music box has a haunted element to it. And then he talks about, I take, these things in here all are connected to a haunting. They have spirits with them. They're safer in here. The second film, he straight up just steals the Crooked Man game that was not possessed. He just stole it. And in this one he just takes the goblet from the altar. Like, so that's not possessed either, because we're not talking about possession here, Ed. There's no, so you're a thief. You're taking things now from cases just to fill your shelves. And then bogus.
Also,
go ahead.
That music box has a dead child in it. That kid is not evil. That's got Rory in it, who's trying to help them stop the witch. So you've condemned this child to a lifetime in a room with demons.
Mm-hmm.
You terrible prick.
And I'm pretty sure he stole the gazebo from their first encounter.
The town wakes up the next day and finds their gazebo, just a mound of dirt in their center of town.
My note to that was when they kind of flashed that in their gazebo. I'm like, did they meet in Pleasantville? Is that where they are? Is this the Pleasantville set?
It was the 50s, Mike. There's only one way to portray the 50s. Back to the Future style. He was an usher at the theater.
Let me give you a couple of reviews here. From Carlos Aguiar from The Wrap. Quote, "The Devil Made Me Do It" opens with a disturbing sequence set in 1981 that stands as the scariest part of the supernatural saga to date. That's not to say that the nearly 2 hours that ensue are devoid of tension and well-paced jump scares, but the sheer chaos and malevolence on display right out of the gate are unmatched elsewhere. All right, Carlos, look, there's more scary scenes in the first two films than from that one. I think, again, the first one, the opening scene in this movie is almost like if they let Kevin Feige come in and produce that opening scene. Like, you know what I mean? It's very, I don't want to say marvelized, but it's very like,
it's everything we've seen so far thrown into an opening sequence.
I guess it's very, what's the word 2? I'm looking for? High concept. It's very high concept. Like that. Like, it's just like, elevated. It's whatever. It's fine. I don't know if it's not the scariest part for the whole saga. And, he really liked this film, but so I don't know. He's a big fan.
It didn't really sound like it.
It says that he's like, that's not to say that nearly 2 hours that ensue are devoid of tension. He's not saying that. They're not devoid. Okay. They're out of the gate are unmatched elsewhere. Oh, right out of the gate are unmatched elsewhere. He's still saying that the opening scene is the best thing out of the last three films. That's what he's saying. Would you agree with that?
The last three. I think it's the best scene. I think it's the best scene in the third film. I don't think it's the best scene out of all three. No. Both the first and second film have some great scenes that are really cool. This one, I really like that high concept scene because it's like, we've seen it. We know the devil exists or the demons exist. Throw it all at us.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still not the best scene because it's better to have things. Now that we've seen it, you have to go. Like, each one, you have to go further when it comes to that same kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's cool to have that element of surprise and that kind of hidden element that you have in Conjuring 1 and 2, where you don't really know. And it's not all being thrown at you at once. Those are far better. But that's not to say that I don't really like the opening scene in this. I like that it also gives Ed a heart attack. Because that's like, oh, damn.
David Rooney from The Hollywood Reporter says, "This one offers plenty of lurid fun and some genuine scares, but the grounding in dark spirituality that made the previous entries focused on the Warrens so compelling gets diluted, despite the reliably dignifying double act of Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson." So he's a fan of the characters, but
not of the investigation.
Not sold completely. He likes some. I mean, it's not a badly made movie. I just don't. I think. No. It's so different from the first two that you're just left wanting more of the first. You're just left wanting a little bit more, and it's a completely different film.
Yeah, I think if you introduce the cult as if you had never introduced them before, and the Warrens have to stumble onto, ooh, what are their names? Who are they? What? But they already know a lot of that stuff, so they just tell you. And movies are show don't tell. So I hate being told about something that, I should be shown. Like, who is this cult? Don't just say, oh yeah, they're these guys. I don't know that, which is my issue with the Fantastic Four film we just reviewed. It's like that movie relies on you being a Fantastic Four fan to really understand a lot of it. And I think that's poor filmmaking.
Ooh, Butler laying down the gauntlet. Poor filmmaking.
I do like this third one, but I do think like that's like just poor writing. They've seen Annabelle. Come on, they've seen Annabelle.
At this point, the two Annabelles have come out already, right? And the Nun's come out.
It's possible that maybe all three Annabelles have come out. The Nuns have definitely already come out by then.
Let's see. I've got them right up here. So it was Conjuring and then Annabelle, Conjuring 2, Annabelle Creation, The Nun. They add the Curse of La Llorona. It's not part of the universe. We talked about this. Annabelle Comes Home and then this Conjuring. Yeah. The Nun 2 was last year or 2 years ago. So The Nun 2 is really? After this film. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So then, and I would assume that they're still going to do more. I mean, right?
They all did
well. So
they all did well, but you got to age out the Warrens at some point.
I think you have to move on from that. And I think they're probably ready to move on. You got their sidekick guy. Do you think that? I mean, I think there's enough where just start going into. You don't need to base them on true stories. I think the first two work, and I think they're the way they're done, and I think that's a credit to James Wan that they work because even though we've looked into, we've talked about like the true cases from the first two films, there was some believability within the movies in and of itself. They do a good job. This one, like we said, there's not a lot to grab onto from the real story that. And so just go make your. I know this fourth one's based on a true story too, Butler.
The case that ended it all. I haven't really looked into what that case is. I haven't actually watched a full trailer yet. I'm trying not to.
Okay. I think I've seen it. The full trailer. I'll watch it again.
Yeah. I usually do. So this time I'm trying to, what if I watch a modern movie where I haven't watched the 4-minute trailer?
What I wanted to ask you was, last episode, you were curious about this film because you knew a lot about the original case, correct? You said that. You're like, oh, I know about this case. So
I know more. Yeah.
And I know that the last two movies, we kind of talked about the differences between real life and what I don't want to deny our fans your anti Ed Warren stuff. So just go.
You still have to tell either this episode or next episode. You have to tell your Ed and Lorraine Warren story.
Oh, I'll tell it now. Okay, I'll tell you my story, and then I want you to talk about.
The case and stuff.
Just like what was not the bogus stuff, what you didn't believe, like what really happened or what you know. Right. Anyway, so here's my story. I've told this story countless times to other people. I worked at Showcase Orange. That's where I started at the Fourplex, but I went to Orange. I was a manager.
All in Connecticut, not far from where the Warrens live.
Yes, Orange, Connecticut, which is right on the other side of New Haven. I live in Monroe right now. So
you live like right next to the Warrens house.
So where I live right now is really close. And so it's like a 20-25 minute ride. The Warrens were in the theater going to see a movie. And this absolutely happened. They went to go see one movie. They tried to movie hop into another movie. And then I kicked them out because there was one ticket, one show. And I was just like, and I think I didn't know who they were at the time. And they never said, oh, we're the Warrens or anything like that. I just thought it was an elderly couple trying to sneak in. And then somebody told me, I was like, what, 20 something, 27, 26, whatever. And like, oh, it was the Warrens. I was like, I don't care. And I was like, I was like all badass because I kicked people out of the theater. But yeah, so they tried to movie hop and I kicked them out. I'm sure they've been successful before, and I'm sure there are tons of other people are successful in movie hopping. The trick to movie hopping is you got to act like you belong. You just got to act like you belong. You can't look around and like you don't know what's going on. But it's very difficult to do it now because seats are all assigned, so it's very tough to do it now. But yeah, that's my big Warren story. I booted him out of the theater. That's right. So yeah, I showed them guys. So anyways, go ahead, tell your story.
Good for you, man.
Yeah, I know. Oh, yeah. Power trip.
So the real story, like you said, it's a lot of hearsay. It's the beginning is correct. You know, they tried to do an exorcism on this young boy, David. But David now says he was just a troubled boy and he wasn't actually possessed by demons. He never was. That's something their parents kept pushing. And his mother specifically kept giving him something I believe called Psionics or something in that vein, which was some kind of weird sleep medication that kind of made you a little kooky. So, and that's something that both he and I guess his other sibling now really tried to tell everybody that it wasn't demonic, that it was his mother. There's a Discovery Channel episode on it. Like you said, there's a documentary. This is what David, the real life David, the young boy, claims now. Arn obviously claims otherwise because otherwise, you know,
well, he's out now.
He murdered a guy. He's out now. Yeah, he got out.
He served his time.
He did 5 of his 10 to 20.
He in the movie. It's the same as what happened in real life. He was sentenced to 10 to 20 years for manslaughter. He got out in 5 for good behavior, and then he married the girl Debbie, right? Yeah, and then they moved. So they went on with their lives,
right? And the movie presents obviously the landlord as this disgusting drunk, which he might have been. Who knows? Because in real life, while they did work at a dog shelter or whatever, and they may or may not have lived in it. They were having,
right.
Oh yeah. They had a party that night or that day. And Arn didn't like the way that the landlord was dancing with one of his friends or with Debbie. There were 3 other girls there and they had gotten to an argument. Arn claims that in that argument where he's trying to have the landlord let the girl go, that he blacked out because the demon took control. But what clearly probably happened was he got mad because the other guy was harassing this girl, but he went a little too far, took out his knife and shanked the dude a bunch of times and then left. That is true where he leaves and he did get arrested. It was the first murder in that town in their entire history. It was the first
Brookfield?
Unlawful killing in Brookfield in their town's history at the time.
There's still more going on. But I can see
the real story.
The blackout stuff, though. I mean, because that's not demonic, but there are countless
people that get those rages where they don't know. Plus, he was drinking.
Yeah. So I can see that. Like that's what it was. But
when they find him, he's kind of incoherent. He gets in the car and then he passes out. He wakes up 20 or 25 minutes later and they arrest him when he wakes back up from his demonic coma or his, sleeping off his booze. Yeah. So the Warrens, of course, because they had dealt with the David case immediately, the day after got arrested and the day after he announced the demonic possession defense, the Warrens agent had announced, we're going to do a movie. We're going to do a book. And we're going to do a tell-all documentary, I believe. The next day announced those 3 things. So if you think the Warrens are truthful, they absolutely took advantage of that. And why is their agent going, it's clearly not about the defense of this young man. It's about the book rights, the movie rights, and the TV rights. And that is exactly what they were after. And they were like, can we do this? Well, at least get real famous doing it. And they jumped on that.
They knew their brand. They knew their branding.
Sharks. In this world, there are 2 types of people. There's sharks and there's sheep.
What that tells you, brother, is you need to stop being an honest man and you need to start faking some stuff here. And you start thinking that, let's go.
I got to put on the next episode. You'll see fishing string attached to my lantern and I'll have it start floating. At least it'll be off screen right here.
Butler, not a believer in ghosts.
I am a believer in ghosts. I'm just not a believer in the Warrens. Like
not a believer in people that are faking.
I'm a skeptical believer in ghosts. Like a lot of evidence is cool, but a lot of evidence is super fakeable. And when it comes to the Warrens, once they touch their grubby little hands on something, it's just, I don't believe it. And I say this with
this my hometown
hatred. I say this with like this hatred for Lorraine, which isn't fair because from what I can glean from documentaries and stuff, she did truly believe she was psychic and she may or may not have been troubled. And Ed clearly took advantage of her.
Well, she could have been psychic, Butler. She could have been very spiritual. I mean, I mean, I think there's people out there like that. I think when you start monetizing it and you start.
Oh, you believe in psychics field?
No, I'm saying I think there's people that I have people in my family that have told me that they were visited by, their father, their grandfather. They gave them numbers to play in the lotto and they play them and they win.
Like visited by spirits and stuff. Sure.
I'm saying what I'm telling you is once it starts getting monetized, once the person starts.
Oh yeah, then you can't believe
off of it. Then it's like, it's really a tough pill to swallow.
But I don't believe in psychics at all.
I understand. But I think if you believe in spirits, Butler, you have to believe that there is some connection between the spiritual world and the mortal world. That there are people there are reaching out. That you just have to pay attention to the signs. So
if I can believe in ghosts, I believe in ghosts, which I need more evidence, but I want to believe in ghosts.
Right.
I do not believe in a human biological being able to push that power out. People can come, spirits can come in. But that one person doesn't have superpowers, and I think that's a delusion of grandeur. I'm not saying that. I'd be hard. If you're a psychic, you should be calling me right now to prove me wrong. Not like, hey, I'm going to tell you, come contact me and say, Mike, I'm wrong. No, call me right now on the line while we're recording. My phone's not buzzing, psychic. Come on, and tell me that you're real, and tell me something you could know about me without looking into any of my digital history, because I guarantee you cannot. And no spirit's going to help you find it.
You're a dick. You're like, yes.
That's again something you can find out right now. I cannot believe psychics. That's not to say I don't believe people can't be spirited by or visited by spirits.
I'm saying people can't be intuitive. Not visited where they have a conversation, but they get feelings or senses and they follow them. You don't believe in that. That's what I'm saying.
No, I do. I do not.
Interesting.
Can you be visited by spirits from the unknown? Maybe. But can you contact them? No, you don't have a phone call. You don't have a magic phone in your head. I don't believe in that.
It's amazing that your favorite movie's Ghostbusters too. That's amazing that your favorite movie's Ghostbusters and you don't believe in any of it. My favorite comedy movie
is Ghostbusters.
Oh, okay. Because it's farcical, Mike.
No, even in Ghostbusters, Peter Venkman does not believe in psychics. That's bullshit research he's doing.
But Ray does, and Harold Ramis do, and they have proof.
Oh, Ray and Egon believe everything.
What about all the stuff in Insidious when they have all the spectrometers and they're all looking and all that stuff? And what about that? That's bogus too. That stuff doesn't work.
Listen, so remote. Now we're getting into Insidious, but Insidious talks about remote viewing, which is so fringy and the only psychic thing that I could possibly believe, and I still have a hard time believing it. But right now, if you follow a lot of the alien stuff,
yes,
the whole thing is that psionics are real, and there are a bunch of people coming out from the military talking about psionic departments and that psionics were used to recover UFOs. These people that have clearances that are cleared, real life people from the military are claiming to have been or have worked with psionics.
Well, you're going to have to explain psionics to me and for everyone else.
So psionics are basically people that can remote view or can astral project. They can basically remove their consciousness from their mind and go wherever they need to go. They basically follow the web of the universe and can, find down to aircraft in other parts of the world. And there are reports, unclassified reports of them using remote viewers to do that. And they have like a 70% success rate. And these are people, find me this plane in this jungle somewhere. And now there are claims, find me this UFO that's in this place. Find me this underwater craft that has just happened. Find out what's going on in the moon, all this kind of weird stuff. And now they're saying that psionics are used to activate and use some of the recovered UFO craft, because the UFO crafts, that's what aliens have used, because aliens have obviously, they're more advanced than us, have already figured out how to use that part of their body.
And you believe this? You believe all this?
I don't, but there's so much coming out about it that I'm more intrigued by that. So that's the level of psychic where I'm kind of like, I don't believe it. But if you can show me some proof, and there is a group called Skywatcher right now that is trying to prove it. These are the some ex-military guys who left those programs, and they're doing this whole like 3-stage investigation with scientific reports, and they're going to have third parties analyze their data before they release anything. if they can prove something, I might believe it. That's kind of the level of psychic I'm at.
All right, so you came to the Conjuring, the devil made me do it, and now we're talking about psionics and
well, because Insidious, that's what Insidious kind of bases their thing on, presupposes they're astral projecting, they're using that kind of power
into the further.
So they're entering. Yeah, they're basically entering another dimension. It's not necessarily heaven or hell.
Upside down. Upside down.
It's the upside down, and that's where they're entering. And plus, the Insidious universe, unlike Conjuring, and this is where I kind of prefer Insidious. As the movies go, they really establish what the further is, what their powers can do and all that. And I really dig it. And the fact that because it's a different dimension and we're not just dealing with pale people with, black eyes, the demons start to look cooler and cooler as you go through the films. And I'm like, I'm always big on some nice practical demon effect makeups. Like I like the Crooked Man. He didn't make any sense in Conjuring 2, but he was cool.
Gotcha. He's also CGI though.
He was also puppet pieces, but never a full puppet.
Yeah. All right. So we kind of tangented there a little bit.
We went right off the rails on that one.
We did. Well, this all these three films obviously are leading up to our now showing episode, which will come out soon. The Conjuring Last Rites. We already know that Butler has not watched any of the trailers, so he doesn't know what to expect. I know
it's 1991 or something.
It's 1986. I've said this already.
Is this not the 90s either?
No, it's at 86.
All right.
No. So
the case that ended it all.
Yeah, it's based on another case. I didn't even look it up. I probably will before we go. We're not going to see it in IMAX because it shouldn't be in IMAX. That's just a cash grab. So we're going to
filler.
So I guess we're both looking forward to this. I think I'm glad I watched these movies. I hadn't seen them. I've only seen I saw, I could talk last time, the first one, The Conjuring, I saw only pieces of it and never saw the whole thing together. And I had never seen much of 2 and I never saw 3. So it was good to kind of watch them and get into them and kind of just be part of that. And I do want to see the other films. I do want to see the Annabelles and then on just to kind of round that out and see what they do with it. I do think it's a strong, so far, what I've seen, it's a decent universe that they're building, so that's pretty cool.
That might be what I do with October is once I do my HHN watch, I'll go in and finish them up.
So we look forward to that. Mike, why don't you tell them where they can find us and all that good stuff that we usually do at the end of the episode.
All that good stuff. You can find us at forgottencinemapodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts. We have a new episode every Wednesday. In fact, as we're recording this, I have to edit our Wednesday release of not Over the Top. That's what's coming out this Wednesday. Yeah, I'm editing Over the Top for release on Wednesday. This week, we are recording our episode for our second episode of Forgotten Horror 7. The Nightmare is Real. So check that out all October.
And we're going to be recording the second episode of our Alien Earth.
We got content coming out our eyeballs.
Way too much.
So I'll be here in this chair editing episodes for all of time, and so check them out because I'm sitting here. I'm wasting away editing. You. Please give us views. Please like, rate, subscribe. Let us know what your favorite Conjuring film is. Field and I haven't seen the other one. So actually, what's your favorite non-mainline Conjuring film? What's your favorite Conjuring spinoff? Because Field and I are going to maybe...
I thought you were asking me. I haven't seen them.
Not for the podcast, but let us know in the comment below which ones are your favorites so we can get a good idea of what we're going to be looking forward to if we do go beyond this.
Do you think that the Conjuring series is Wan's better series? Like better than Saw? Better. You like Insidious. I'm gonna take Insidious out, but do you think it's better than Saw?
Yeah, because Saw goes off the deep end and Saw 2, I love Saw 1 and Saw 2, but every other Saw after that is just Saw 2, but not as good. Right. Maybe grosser, but not as good. I love Saw 2. And they can't top that. But I don't think he did 3, did he?
I think he did. He stopped at Insidious 2. He stopped at Conjuring 2. I think he stopped at Saw 2. So he stops at 2, which is good. You want to move on. You want to get out of there.
Aquaman 2.
I think he had to do that. I mean, I get it. You get a lot of money that's going to change your world. Go for it.
Oh, sure. I think, but yeah, other than Insidious, I think The Conjuring's there because The Conjuring is strong. This film has flaws, but it's still a really good watch. And they're definitely, they're not elevated horror, but they're well-made horror that knows what they're playing with. And I like that.
Right. Sweet. So so check that out. Check us our now showing. Check all the stuff that Butler said. And our next lead up is what, Mike? I'm blanking.
I know we're doing a Tron Legacy.
That's in October.
That's in October, and then for Predator we're going to do an overall. Do we have one for September?
September are we doing another lead up?
Oh, our lead up for Tron starts in September.
Okay, so we're doing Tron Legacy.
Tron is early October, so Tron Legacy
are now showing. Yeah. So sweet, we got a lot of stuff going on, which is cool. Butler keeps adding stuff, which is not cool, but that's fine.
Well, because Predator Badlands is going to be a watch, I thought we should do a lead up.
And then which comes out the same day as The Running Man, so we're double featuring or something. That's great. And I had to talk to you about the Predator light up.
Well, because in my brain, I was like, oh, we only have to do Predator 1 and 2. And then you're like, well, there's Predators and The Predator. And I was like,
and I kept adding movies. and you're like, what about this one? I'm like, no, we're not doing it.
I was like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
So we'll just do an overview of, hey, guys, this is what we think of the Predator movies.
I don't mind doing a Predator lead up in the summer. I don't have a problem doing that. Just doing but not now because we've just got too much stuff going on. And then you added Alien Earth. So, yeah. All right, let's get out of here. Let's end this episode now. Thank you for watching, and look forward to our other content and reach out. Let us know how we're doing and all that good stuff because we do like talking to you guys. We do like discussing movies. Yeah. It's always fun. Even if
there's a lead up film or a film coming out, you guys want to do,
absolutely. All right. Thanks again. I'm Mike Field.
I'm Mike Butler,
and this has been Forgotten Cinema Lead Up. The Conjuring, the Devil made me do it. Butler doesn't believe. Psionics.